Here we are. Here he is. Andreas, you just muted, mate. That's it. How you going, buddy?
Hey, yeah. Hi.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us all the way from Germany with this live stream tonight. Now, of course, I've titled the stream as Moscha because Moscha is your Discord handle, online handle, yeah? But in real life, you're known as Andreas.
That's right. That's right.
Good on you, mate.
Moscha is Moscha is basically a big gun in German. That's like that how they translated it. Like
right.
Okay. Or big gun, that's me.
Right. Okay, that's awesome, mate. We've got Kim Nix as well here. I know she's from Germany, so she was looking forward to this one.
Oh, really? Hi, Kim.
So I don't know where she's from, which part of Germany she's from, but she's
maybe she'll tell us.
Painting,
check the comments.
Stuff there, like some 40k orc, a 40k plastic orc, which is quite cool.
Okay.
And Gregory.
Hi, Gregory.
Thank you very much. Oh, Chris is here too. That's lovely. Okay, yes. So we've got already coming in to say hello. We have scheduled this a little bit earlier because I woke up at some ungodly hour, something like 3:40 or something like that, with a slight headache, and I thought I better get up and have a shower, look presentable, and okay, right. So Nostalgia Hammer's here. How you going, Danny? Nice to see you, mate. And Nick, my good friend from Medieval Wargaming. That's wonderful.
Okay.
If you're not seeing Nostalgia Hammer Hobbies, go and check out Danny's channel because he's done a really awesome looking Hive Tyrant painting and conversion kind of video.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool. And then Nick is the Medieval Wargamer who does a lot of, as it says, Medieval Wargaming. So he's doing a lot of Baron's War stuff at the moment, which is really cool. So Kim Nick says, I'm very old here for 2 years or so. Okay. There you go. How's your German, Kim? Is it good or not? So let us know. And good, Danny. Thanks, mate. Yeah, really good. Thanks, mate. So hope you're having a good weekend. Hope you're eating some of that lasagna pizza you had last time from Domino's. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, Chris.
Absolutely. I only have high quality guests. So Andreas, like people who don't know you, please tell us about yourself. Like, what part of Germany you're from and, why did you get the hobby and that kind of thing. So lead away.
Yeah. I'm 43 years old. I come from southern Germany, basically in between Stuttgart and Lake Constance, which is at the border, bordering Austria and Switzerland. I got my A1 cert from my Deutsch course. Nice. Nice, Kim. So we'll switch to German, if that's fine for you. No, kidding there. No. First time I picked up on a GW game, or basically in the GW universe, I was with Space Crusade. A friend of mine got that boxed MB game, Space Crusade, and also HeroQuest. And we played that a couple of times when it was still new. And I got myself also a copy of Space Crusade, but never painted it, never got around painting it, and was too intimidated. I looked at the pictures of the painted models at the side of the box and said, oh man, this looks awesome. But I never got around to painting them or even trying. And then I never played a real GW game back in the day. But that exact friend of mine, he got very, very enthusiastic and started basically with White Dwarf 1 released in Germany, the first White Dwarf released in Germany. Wow. And from then on, he bought basically everything that came out here. And I remember when I visited him like some years later. He had all these painted models. He had an aquarium with blood angels inside and a nice spiky stuff. And some Katakan warriors, all mixed together. And he also had, I think that was already back then, 5th edition already. I'm not sure if he was back then. Well, he had like Rom the Paunch, he had like the Green Knight, he had the Pegasus, the
Bretonian, is it
exactly that one, and a goblin or rock lobber, and some basic these plastic 4th edition orcs.
Yep.
He didn't have the high elves, if I remember correctly, but he had the goblins and the orcs, and that's what my starting point for Warhammer Fantasy. I bought these from him. He had the 5th edition box set with Bretonians and Lizardmen, all painted, and he started an undead army. And that's when he said, oh well, I'm looking for a person to play with. Would you maybe like to buy these orcs and goblins for 50 Deutschmark, which is about, I don't know, 20 pounds or $25 US dollars. And it was like some archers, plastic orcs and goblins, and this one metal command group. And I started from that, painted some models, and now I'm stuck with
you went down that rabbit
quite
hole.
a lot of orcs and goblins and other armies.
Excellent, mate. Yeah, I know you've always been really active in the community in Warhammer specifically, isn't it? Like you're not a 40k gamer so much.
Not really. I once tried during 3rd edition, but it didn't fan my interest so much. The best game of Warhammer 40k I had with Chris some months ago. Hey, Chris, when we played 2nd edition or a remote game, that was really great fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
So let's look at that, because a lot of people ask about what is remote gaming and how can you play Chris in the United States. The game was 2nd edition 40k. So how exactly was that sort of set up?
Well, basically, one person who is the host provides with all the models and the table, and kind of sets all of these items up, so you can see it clearly. With you just need like a tripod or something to transfix your smartphone device or whatever on it, so the other person can see the table, see the miniatures, and then you start rolling away basically. And it's really dependent on the host, because the host has to take care, has to make the measurements, because obviously 3D is not an option. So it is hard to measure with your eye how long the distances are. So you kind of have to rely a bit on the host to help you out there a bit. But everything else, it's like just a wonderful game with friends, except that you're not there in person, but still it's great fun.
It's
definitely
been really
better than Tabletop Simulator or something.
It was good. So for remote gaming, Chris does a lot of that on their Discord. So he's got Space Wolves, and did you play Space Wolves?
Yeah, I played Space Wolves.
Right. And was it JT with the Elder?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
JT played Elder.
So watch a little bit of that. Looked really, really nice. And Chris has got a lovely set of miniatures painted up and everything like that. Nice terrain and stuff. And it's really good. It's a great way. We just talked about, like, we did a lot of Man of War, and me and Chris played the entire Space Hulk initial campaign for 2nd edition, which is really fun. As I'd never played it before, so it's really nice that the guys want to set these games up so people can experience certain games maybe they've never played before, like yourself. You never played 2nd edition 40k.
Exactly.
What did you think? What do you think of it overall? Your experience with 2nd edition, was it good?
It was great fun. I mean, we had to look up a lot of things.
Yeah, of course.
We were very unsure on how to resolve like close combat and shooting and stuff like that. But well, all it needed was kind of a gentleman's agreement, what would make sense, and then it turned out fine, and it was great fun for every one of us.
Yeah,
Really liked
because
it.
I think Chris is kind of new to it too, like coming back
Mhm.
to it kind of thing, or just starting off really. So yeah. No, we're just talking about you, Chris. Just talking about you right now. Andreas and JT, Signature 40K. So yeah, so if you want a game, Chris is always open to having people learning or playing games on our Discord group. So I don't know if it's in our link, but if you go to my main banner, you'll see like a Discord icon. Click on that. It'll redirect you to the Discord and join up there. And there's a remote gaming section in one of the channels. And just say, hey, I'd love to play such and such a game, and we'll see if somebody can host it for you. So that's great, mate. And it's now Space Crusade is called Star Quest in Germany. Is
That's
that right?
right. I always mix it up. I always don't say Star Quest. Don't irritate anyone. Say Space Crusade.
Tell me about this. Tell us a little bit about it, because I think some people may not know that fact, but they had some interesting names for the chapters. Is that right?
Yeah. The one was called GSG-9 or something, which is basically a special unit, and those were the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
And the other one, the one was called, I think, Musketeers, and the third one, I can't remember. I just keep looking around if I have the box somewhere, but I think it's in our gaming club. I don't have it at home right now.
Right,
Else
okay.
I could look it up.
Yeah, I think Marcel, another compatriot of yours in Germany, showed me that one day and showed me the chapter cards, and they had really strange names. I don't know who did that. I have no idea. Maybe
Me
I just don't
neither.
understand why. So it's so bizarre.
They also had, like, especially written down in the rule section, like, these weapons don't kill.
Oh, exactly.
So,
I think it was sensitivity to
so it was more child appropriate, kind of. I don't know.
like war games. I think wargaming was kind of a sensitive time even back then in the 90s, you know, with Germany. So yeah, it's strange, isn't it? But equally funny and interesting. So it's probably created a new hype, or people want to collect both the US, UK, and maybe European, like German versions of it, because maybe I think Germany was the only one that had that Star Quest. Is it right, or is it other countries as well?
Could be.
Maybe only
I've
Germany.
never heard it anywhere before. So, but we also had, like, Battle Masters was called the Claymore Saga. So
Claymore
I
Saga.
don't know why.
Saga. I like that. So Danny says, yeah, second edition close combat is pretty complicated. Yeah, it's better to work in smaller armies, not big armies. It was never designed.
I guess so, yeah, because you have to resolve everything, like, one step after the other, one combat, one fight after the other, maybe with single models. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I can't wait to play a game, to be honest. Okay, well, yeah. Hit the guys up on our Discord, Kim and Chris, or even Cameron, who does Man of War a lot, specialized Man of War. But Chris has a few different games and all painted, really nicely painted models and everything. So he would be lovely to. He would love to do that. And Marcus,
sure.
how you going? Good evening, mate.
Hello, Marcus.
So we'll probably have a few Germans joining our group, mate, to say hello, I'd say.
Seems like.
Actually, next week I've got another German guest coming on, and that's
Okay.
That's Tim from the Some Dude on YouTube channel.
Okay.
That. Yeah, okay. He's a nice guy. He does a thing. He does a hobby hangout with Jerry from On Tabletop. With an appropriate disclaimer at the beginning to warn people of the foul language and that kind of thing, because it's pretty loose and wild. But yeah, he'll be on. So we've got quite a few, and we've got the Dice Hammer guys. Do you know Dice Hammer?
No, never heard of that. I think. No.
Okay, another German channel. Two guys.
Oh, cool.
So Dice Hammer do basically 2nd edition 40k battle reports, and they also do 8th edition fantasy battle reports.
I mean, nice.
Yeah, it's great to see. It seems well.
Cool.
It's not that much of a surprise because Germany has a rich culture in gaming, don't they? Tabletop gaming.
Well, we have
Andreas?
a lot of yeah.
Because you got Spiel, is it Essen Spiel? It's a
yeah, of course, yeah.
Board
Big
games
event,
galore.
real big event, really big event.
Right, it's massive. So Germany's rich with sort of tabletop gaming, like family gaming or miniature gaming, wargaming. I don't know much about in Germany, but obviously
traditionally not so much as in UK or somewhere else in the English speaking countries.
Yeah.
But yeah, some back in the late 80s or early 90s, this was like really a fringe hobby, like really.
Right.
There's tabletop RPG, and this is already like that size or something, and then that size was maybe people playing tabletop games, like tabletop war games. But that number slightly increased, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so, because looking at those, and Tim went to this convention in Hamburg. There was another one.
The Tactica. That's quite big. It's just I'm here and that's there. That's really far away. But
right.
some guys from our club go there every year.
But that looked really good. Lots of like just all miniature games. I think all miniature based games, big displays, and lots of terrain and all that kind of thing with all various different systems. For fantasy, sci-fi, and historical. So that was really interesting as well. So that's great, mate. So tell us a bit more about this system of Warhammer Fantasy you play in your group. Because you don't play the standard sort of fantasy game. Yeah,
I didn't see that coming. Well, yeah, that's basically a fan-based system that some guys from Munich that developed that game, and that's the one. Well, I don't know. I saw it online sometime on a forum, and I was a bit disappointed of 8th edition, and all the caveats it has with the extreme magic and being very, very wacky, too wacky for my taste. I like wackiness because I play Orcs and Goblins, but that was just a bit too much for me. I don't know. And also I'm rather a fluff player, and I like to set up odd army lists and not play the meta, what's like the strongest. So I was very often basically steamrolled by setting up my army list and looking at the other table side as I thought, well, we can stop playing now, I guess. And that system was specifically designed to be built around infantry units and with supports from other kind of units. And I like that idea. It has some golden rules that explain how the system works, how it's supposed to fix the most problems with Warhammer Fantasy, make it a balanced game. And basically, they started off on some basic rules. I think it was 7th edition core rule book, and made modifications to that. Because 7th edition is basically 6th edition, and that was what the tournament players were used to play then. I know 7th edition has kind of a bad reputation, but that's kind of a bit unfair and not the point. The point was that the army books were really bad, because the army books kept messing up the game terribly, because you could bet that the next army book GW would release would be even stronger than the one before, and it was just not fun to play against certain armies. But that was not the problem of the base rules, but rather the problem of the army books and the different Yeah.
What
Strength
is
of the.
what is the name of the system you play? What is the name of it?
Oh, it's called Warhammer CE, where CE stands for either Classic Edition or Competitive Edition or Communist. No, not Communist Edition, but yeah, and it's trying to include or to make it possible for you to play all the miniatures in your collection, basically. So back to 3rd edition. It has really a lot of units that were not included in any editions since 3rd edition. There were even some units I've never heard of. So, and it has rules for Norskai, it has rules for Kislev, it has rules for Chaos Dwarfs, it has rules for Chaos Undivided Armies, and I liked it a lot. It's really nice. It's really great fun.
So, is this the person who made it? Was it a German person who made it? German gamer, right?
And
so
he wrote rules in English, but yeah, and I translated it to German.
He wrote it. Translated back. Wow. Okay. Like reverse engineering.
Kind of.
Okay, that's interesting. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of that one before. So that's interesting. So yeah. So how can people find these rule sets?
I can provide with a link because one of the guys who also really liked it from Frankfurt, another play group, he has built an army list creator where you can just click together army lists on your smartphone or on your desktop PC. He's a programmer, and he's also really invested in the project, and he hosted all the LRBs, living rule books, on his page. So you can basically just go to his page and download the rules. It's a PDF. It's about, I don't know, 40 pages of rules, very condensed, and then 140 pages of army list.
So is it just basically 8th edition? Is it mirrored 8th edition rules, or is
no,
completely
not 8th. It's rather starting point is 7th edition. So you have this core, special, rare, and heroes mechanic where you have different unit types, but you don't even have to pay attention to that because you can basically say, okay, you can feel basically everything. The only rule is it's supposed to be balanced at 2,000 points. When you say you go on to play a tournament where it's really, 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 really balanced, then you should play 2,000 points, more or less. And the only limitation is there you have only one lord choice. And that's the only limitation there is. That's also fun. So you can play with 5 giants if you want to. This won't be very good, but if you want, you can. You're not going to probably win this game, but you can. And the idea is that if you like kind of want to build a super nasty gun line or stuff, that if you take multiples of certain units, they are always getting more expensive. So, for example, if you like field 1 repeater thrower with dark elves, it will cost you 90 points. But if you field 2, each of them will cost you 110 points. And if you field 3, each of them will cost you 130 points. So, and the same is with cannons, big monsters, that kind of stuff, or all the things that we would say, well, 1 or 2 are all right, but if you field 6, it's not so much fun to play against. So,
sure.
And that really helps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of, it kind of makes it think twice about how many you're going to take, and if you take more, you pay more, kind of thing. I like that idea.
And you can either think, well, maybe it's better to invest in a unit of goblins because they only cost 60 points or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, that's interesting. You've posted up some pictures on our Discord of you guys playing. It was a campaign, wasn't it? Was it like a good campaign?
Yeah, we played different campaigns of it. I rewrote some of the classic GW campaigns from 5th edition, like Grudge of Drong, Idol of Gorg. Tears of Aisha. I kind of converted them for CE, and we played it in our play group, or me and some other guys, and it was really great fun. We enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
And do you have an active gaming group where you are in your city?
We do. We have a gaming club, the city where I live, which has about 30 members. And they play all kind of games. It was we started basically as a Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40k club. So but through the years, many different games and different players joined the club. So now we have like active players of as well as Fantasy 40k, Blood Bowl, Dystopian Wars, Malifaux. And there are also Magic the Gathering nights, or they play Warhammer 40k role play on Saturday nights and stuff like that. So it's really an active community. Really nice.
That's really good. And this is at some kind of clubhouse, or is it some kind of store?
Yep. We started off in an old factory where I also had my rehearsal room, and it was it was really large and very, 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 very badly isolated. So it was like, 100 square meters. So really big room and very old windows. The building is from the 1920s or older. I don't know. And in the winter, it was so terribly cold. Oh, good night, Kim.
Oh, really? Are you going to get to bed? Okay, sorry. Okay, thanks, Kim. All right, take care. Thank you very much for joining us.
I didn't pay attention to the comments. Maybe I got a bit too involved talking. Ah, that's nice. Thank you.
That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ernest. And Chris. He just wrote that it's the first time he sees me without a heavy metal shirt. But this is also very nice because do you know Fallout, the game? And this is like the mascot of Fallout, and he holds up the finger, and you know what that means? He's holding out his finger like that, like that. And that means if you see the nuclear pits, what is it called? The nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
And if it's
the mushroom cloud.
Big, the mushroom cloud. And if it's bigger than your finger, then you should get further away from it.
I'm really glad you explained that. Thank you very much, Professor Andreas, because I've never played those games, to be honest. So that's good. I learn something every stream, no doubt. So okay, that's cool, mate. So I'm glad you've now established a better place to play in, and you've grown the local gaming community, and people playing various different systems and that kind of thing. That's the way that games tend to survive. You know what I mean? If people are actually actively playing games and they can see it being played, and then they invest in army painting and stuff like that. So that's good, man. That's great. What's the age demographic there? Is it sort of your age, younger, older?
Younger than me, I'd say. Some are, well, unfortunately, but some are older than me, but I'm kind of the club grandpa already, I think.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Most of them are around about 30 or a bit younger.
Right. Okay, well, that's good to know. There's some younger guys coming through the ranks. Yeah, excellent. Yes, it had to be geek related, absolutely, Chris. Yeah, but if Andres hadn't told me that, I would never know. So if anybody asked me that, I know exactly how to answer that question. Actually, I got to play a bit of PS4 yesterday because me and my son were here together alone. So he's playing his Nintendo Switch, playing Minecraft, and Minecraft is it's quite an ingenious kind of game because when you look at it looks like the kind of game I was playing on my Amstrad CPC 464 in 1986.
Kids love
Right?
it. I mean, and it's
Love it.
already around for quite some time, and
It's
I
amazing.
just once saw it once or twice, also with kids from friends of mine, and I thought, why are they so crazy about this game? But I love it. They love it.
It's amazing. I've never seen such a heavily pixelated game be
Hmm.
so popular, and it's just like you can't even make out certain things. Like it's just all block. It's just block, block, block,
Hmm.
block. Block. You have to really look at the animals or people or things in the game to really work it out. So it's amazing how long it's survived for. I mean, that's been around for a long time now.
Hmm.
It's still capturing the imagination of younger kids like my son and all his friends at school and everything like that. So yeah, he's really addicted to that game now. But
Hmm.
yeah, I do you do a lot of like PC gaming at all, mate? Does that sort of mix into your tabletop gaming?
I used to, but it's taken up so much time. I mean, work life, family, and hobby, like
Yeah.
with hobby like this hobby is not mixing well with 5 hours of computer gaming. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I play a game, but most of the time I play old games that I already know. But like Fallout is a bit of an exception. I have been playing this, I think Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 were still like isometric turn-based game. Those I
Oh, really?
played, and then Fallout 3 was 3D play, like all these 3D shooters, but
Hmm.
it's very story heavy, and it's not about running around and finding the next gun. Well, it is too, but not it's not the attention of the game. I think you can play the game without firing a single shot, probably. It's really interesting, and the possibilities you have there is really cool, and the humor is great. That's very important. I mean, really dark humor.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm really appreciative of computer games, and when I find something that I really, really enjoy, it's always nice to immerse yourself into the
Mhm.
story, background, and the characters and that kind of thing. You feel really invested with it. So things like I know Matt is a massive PC and console guy. Fallout New Vegas is where
Mhm.
it's at, and 1 and 2. Right, okay. But I have fond
Okay,
memories of
yeah,
playing.
Fallout New Vegas is great, but I prefer 3, but it's close
Oh, there
second
you
one.
go. It's interesting.
And Fallout 1 and
But
2 are the classics, of course.
yeah, I really remember wonderful experiences because I'm a big football guy. I love
Mhm.
English football and World Cup football. So playing like PS1, the FIFA World Cup
Mhm.
games, and later Pro Evolution Soccer.
Mhm.
So I played a bit of that. I'm still playing it after I don't know 2 decades. I'm still playing Pro Evolution
Mhm.
Soccer, which is called Winning 11 in Japan. Uh,
Okay.
because it's easy for me because I can play one match and then that's it. But if I'm playing Final Fantasy, it's
Mhm.
like say like it's a 100-hour investment. I don't
Yeah,
have that time.
game.
Big
Time
RPG
sink,
type thing.
extreme
Yeah,
time sink. Yeah.
yeah. No, I can't do it anymore. But
That's
when I was
that's
younger,
why I
yeah,
never started.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I never started like with MMORPGs, because I know
Sounds
myself and I know that this would like eat up so much of my time. So I stayed away from it.
Yeah, good idea, mate. Yeah, I can't see why or how they're really interesting to play. It's like, here, get me five mushrooms. Okay,
Yeah,
they're the wrong mushrooms. I want the pink ones with the purple dots. Okay, and bring back.
let's
Okay,
walk
good.
around and fetch for
I need
mushroom.
5 pig ears, and then you go and get 5 pig ears, bring them back, and it's just like, is this how is this fun? It's like, it's like real
Yeah,
life. You got to He tells you what to do, and you go and get it. You bring it back, and okay, and then to get it to the next stage. Yeah, I found it really, really tedious. That's going back to like the very first World of Warcraft online MMO. And it's like, no,
yeah,
sorry.
like this games, I stayed away from it. To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, too, mate. I just found it so boring. I love um, the Uncharted series. Uncharted. Drake's Fortune.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, it's a PlayStation licensed game, or published game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an adventure game. It's kind of like Indiana Jones, but
Okay.
if you've never played it, if you've never played Uncharted, I would really highly suggest you go and get it. And there must be a PC version of it, I'd say. But it was exclusive to
Already?
on PlayStation 3. They first came out,
Okay. Yeah, I
and
never
it's
had a console. So
aha.
Google.
You're a pure PC gamer, so
Yeah.
yeah, Uncharted is one of my favorite series of games. So and I'm sure Matt will agree that it's a really fun ride from start to the end. It plays very much like an Indiana Jones kind of romp, where
Cool.
he's sort of trying to find some kind of treasure, a lost treasure, and then all the bad
Mm-hmm.
guys come out and stop him. It's like Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider. It's kind of that kind of thing. Third
Okay.
person adventure game, and you got to solve puzzles and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the story and the characters and the voiceovers and everything about it's just so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget Metal Gear Solid, the very first one, Snake Eater. I think
Mm-hmm.
Snake Eater, the first one. Yeah, that was. I love that game. Loved it on the PS1. Yeah, just obsessed by it. Yeah.
I just played. A friend of mine had Metal Gear on the on the Nintendo, on the NES. But
is that the one? Maybe that's Snake Eater. Sorry, maybe that's Snake Eater, the first one.
But I never understood what's happening there. It was in English, and we were like in third grade, so no chance.
Right. But what does Matt say? I know he'll love this. Red Dead Redemption 2 is really good. Yeah,
Oh,
I love
okay.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine plays.
He plays Red Dead Redemption. It's pretty hard to say. A bit of a tongue twister, that one. RDR.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption. I'm going to say that 10 times over and over again. But I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima. It's a samurai-based game.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of
I've only played Shadow Warrior. I am the Shadow Warrior.
Is Shadow Warrior the sort of is it like a hero type game where you go and smash heaps of guys? Like
it's like Duke Nukem 3D, if you know Duke Nukem 3D.
No.
Or Doom. Do you know Doom? The old Doom games. That's.
I think Doom was the very first game I see on the PC with some Norwegian friends of mine at school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that went back to early 80s, 1980s when that first was out. Yeah, that's
1992 or 3.
Was it?
3, I think.
1993.
Pretty sure, because Wolfenstein was before his ID software, and first was Wolfenstein, and then was that game.
It was Wolfenstein. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, history and pedigree in gaming, that's for sure. But I was always a console guy. Always a console guy. Loved consoles. Hated computers. Yeah, I'd always tend to break them or something. But so what's on your hobby project bench at the moment? What kind of things are you painting now?
I'm painting Bretonians right now. Because I got some in a trade-in a few years ago, and they always sat on the shelf or basically in a box, and I never got around painting them. Always different projects. And then this new old world box came out with Bretonians, and I bought that too. So now I have sufficient Bretonians for an army.
Right.
And so that's my next army project, Bretonians. I have successfully painted 4 knights already. Fifth one is almost done, but there's still a lot to go. See, Doom was 93. That's what Odgit says.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Ted. This is Ted. Hey, Ted, how you going, mate? So yeah, Doom 93. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I'll never forget that. I introduced the same Norwegian guys to Warhammer 3rd edition.
Oh, okay.
HeroQuest, and they absolutely loved it because they were just completely super like they're the super into computers, very
Mhm.
smart guys. They could build a computer back then. You know what I mean? Like they're just really in tune with technology and that kind of stuff. But they knew about Lord of the Rings when I showed them Hero Quest.
Mhm.
They really enjoyed that, and then I showed
Mhm.
them played a game of third edition fantasy for the very first time, and on the floor, and they
Mhm.
worked out the rules because I couldn't work out the rules. I just wasn't smart enough
Mhm.
to work out how this game works. So they read it and worked it out, and we actually played third edition fantasy
Mhm.
for the first time. Yeah. And I'll never forget it. We had just all the miniatures we had, which was very little, and we had a group of orcs, and I think one of the Norwegian guys, I think Ben, had a mage, and he summoned a greater demon, and the only way you could ever kill or even hurt a greater demon was you had to have a magic item, had a magic weapon, and no one had a magic weapon. So we just I'll never forget that day. It was really fun. Yeah. Even though we didn't know what the hell was going on, but it seemed really fun at the time. But
Of
very
course.
exciting. Yeah.
That's the magic of discovering something new and awesome.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe they've picked up tabletop wargaming because of it. I don't know.
Mhm.
I've lost contact with those guys now. They're probably some kind of computer geniuses out there somewhere in some kind of high tech. So you picked up the old world books
Mhm.
recently on launch.
Yeah.
What was your take on that? What do you think about that?
Well, I I thought I was more interested in the models, to be honest. But I thought, well, let's give it a read. GW already teased some of the rules the weeks before. I followed that. I read it through. I thought, well, that sounds interesting. But what kind of spoiled the fun for me was I already knew about some rules that they teased already. And with the rulebook in my hand, I was trying to find these and I couldn't. I really had a hard time to look that stuff even up. So I thought, and it's not the first time I picked up a rule book. And I thought, well, by the time they should maybe know how to write rules coherently so you can play a game
Yeah.
without flipping through 20 pages and not finding what you're looking for.
Yeah.
In that sense, this rulebook is a disappointment. But I think the rules are pretty interesting. The changes they made might be a fun experience to play it.
Mhm.
Well, we'll see if I ever get around playing it. At least I'm not going to rebase anything. No.
Very good.
No, these are just, I don't know.
You
I'm
picked
not
up a lot.
rebasing 1,000 models or so. No. No way
No,
I'm going to do that.
I would say to anybody, do not rebase your miniatures. There's absolutely no need because it's easier to go up than going back down again. So yeah, you just might
Mm.
as well just do the. I think one of the guys in our gaming group here in Japan, Wellington, he sort of read the rules and realized that it didn't really matter. The base size didn't really matter. You don't like, as in, you don't have to upscale so much because by the way the rules are written is that like anything in contact with another unit, all of those guys in the front
Yeah,
would,
exactly.
hence the line
So
hammer that Dr.
that's
Black saw.
that's that's the term, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be that worse because you can't really maneuver with units that big. So probably you're screwed if you have like a line of 20 models trying to get somewhere. Someone will fly in your flank and then charge your single model in the flank. I don't know.
Dwarves would be really good for that because that sort of static gun line. The Empire as well would have like 20, guys 10 across or whatever in a gun line. I think they would be quite. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's just it's a bit of a satire that he's doing online, but it's
Yeah.
like you said, it's part of the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's part of the rules, and some of these FAQs they already released show that it's not very thought through to the
Yeah,
end, or at least not very well explained. For example, there is some kind of rule that's called, I think, drilled or something, where you
Right.
can reform your unit, make it wider or smaller during movement, and it's
Yep.
not even clear if you can do that if you step up, if you follow up on a fleeing opponent or something.
Right. So people
Yeah.
still test the game and try to maybe break it in some ways, which is good. Maybe it's good. It's a good way, because that way, if they're willing to say, hey, we'll bring in an update and FAQ and errata, that's probably a good thing for the game. As in,
Mhm.
want to play competitively in tournaments, or you just want to just make sure that you've got a decent sort of rule set that you can play with your friends, non-competitively, but at least you've got an official answer. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Which is probably a lot better than they did before, because I don't know about 8th edition or whatever, 7th edition or 6th edition, but I don't think there was any kind of communication apart from White Dwarf magazine.
Yeah, that was during 8th edition, I think, when they said, well, we just provide the miniatures. The rules are, well, they are there. You can take them, do whatever you want. And that was not a bit frustrating for some people, or yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, there was no internet, or not an internet community where you could like update rules like on a weekly basis. But I think they could have done a bit more, at least in the 7th and 8th edition. Oh, Marcus has a question. Shall we look into that?
We'll just go through some of the comments. Thank you very much for coming in and saying hello. Please remember to like the stream if you can, and to say hello to Andreas. As soon said PC always break on you, Josh. Okay. Right. Okay. So it looks like you've managed to experience a blue screen of death. Okay. Is that just now? Wow. Okay. Will. Would you still do some fantasy battles based on older editions, but move to the the old world, or rather stick to the older editions forever? Is this a question for Andreas? I think. That, Andreas?
Would you still do some fantasy battles based on older editions? I still do. I sometimes play older editions or fan-made editions, like that CE edition that we mentioned, but move on to TOW, or rather stick to the older editions. Well, to move on would mean like to completely invest in the game and like say, oh, okay, forget all the rules that has been there before. No, I won't do that, because I'm quite satisfied with the rule set I have, and we have an active gaming group playing with these rules, so there's basically no need for me to make a change. If like everybody would now say, oh no, I won't play these rules anymore, the old world is out and we're only playing the old world, well, then maybe I might be forced to play the old world. But as this is not the case, I won't totally invest in updating my armies or stuff to play the old world. No.
Yep, good answer. Okay. What does Danny say here? So it might be a bit salty for GW, but it would be nice if they released a game that didn't need FAQs to sort out it straight away, which is a good point. I mean, there's no point releasing.
That's a good point. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Errating something seems crazy. I think they did that with 10th edition 40k. I think a lot of people got upset about that or whatever. I don't know. I don't play these games. I'm not really interested in what the current GW situation is with their games and that kind of thing. I mean, just affording to buy the books is just staggering. The cost of how much they are to buy.
Yeah, if you want to keep up, like always be up to date, and if you see how short the lifespan of an edition in 40k now is, that's crazy. I mean, it's less than 3 years, around about 3 years, if I'm correct. So as soon as you have all your books together, you can throw them in the bin and buy them anew again, and that's kind of unfair to the customer, I think.
fingers crossed they reprint on demand the 3rd edition rulebook, because I will definitely
that
get
would be
that
nice.
if they did. I did order the 40k Rogue Trader one, but I cancelled it because
Cool.
I saved the money on something else. Because
Mm-hmm.
Paul's already got it. Paul's got a copy of that, and I thought, well, he's got a
Mm-hmm.
copy. I don't really need a copy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's really nice to see these older reprints get some love, you know, and they've done a
Mm-hmm.
really nice job. And it's nice to see people actually receiving their copies now recently on the Discord, on Facebook, or whatever. So yeah, it's really cool that that's come out. I'm actually going to play Rogue Trader today. Would you believe?
Oh, cool.
I've got an
Nice.
orc boy here. I've got to finish off for our
Yeah.
little scenario that Paul's making for us. And this is one thing I really like about 3rd edition and third edition Fantasy and first edition Rogue Trader, is that there is a GM, and he makes the setting. Paul's even written some handouts, like a little briefing for each player, and then creates the environment that you play on the board and that kind of thing. I really like. I've never had that experience before, so I'm really looking forward to that as a gaming experience. Very narrative.
Exactly.
There's no point system. It's like, you just make your list. Well, how many points? Well, it doesn't. Well, you don't have a point system, so you just make whatever you want. Okay, and then and I think Nick does the same with his stuff. He's playing Eldar. So it'd be really interesting. I'll have to report back to you guys at some point on the podcast or whatever about that and see what it's like. But yeah, it seems like a really interesting system.
Yeah, I read through this Terror of the Lich Master set once, and that was also based on I think it was even for 2nd edition. I think it was 2nd edition fantasy, and I found it really interesting. The concept of like not playing just 2 players against each other, but having actually a real game master who is handing out information to the players with hidden or even wrong information in some cases. Really cool.
Yeah, I think it's really fun.
I'd really like to see a game of that, how this would resolve. Maybe we should ask GJ someday.
Yeah.
I think he covered on that already in one of his
he's covered it on the this is GJ from the Forces of Fantasy podcast.
Exactly, yeah.
He's recently had a baby, so that's really nice.
Yes.
He's had, I think,
the magnificent Sven, I think.
Yeah, this was magnificent Sven. That's right. So congratulations to GJ for that. That's why we haven't seen many releases on his channel podcast recently.
Busy with life.
But that's been really nice. But yeah, GJ's covered like 1st edition Warhammer Fantasy.
He's starting from the beginning. I think he's about my age, and he started at the end of 5th, beginning of 6th, and he's like now starting from the beginning and reading through all of the editions. And I think now he's round about 3rd edition, and he covered.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think he covered Citadel Journals from '86 and that's shortly before 3rd edition, so probably that's where he is right now.
I think you're right.
Not 100% sure, but really interesting.
Yeah, it is, mate. I've really enjoyed it. His discussions on that, and researching those old editions and seeing the evolution of Warhammer through his podcasts. I really enjoyed that. So, and I'm actually interested in 2nd edition too for that reason. It's because it is more of a narrative driven. They had campaign sets like Return of the Leech Lord, Return of the Witch Lord. I can't remember. I'm half asleep. You have to help me up here, Andres. So I need a coffee, I think, soon as well.
No problem. Heinrich Kemmler and Krell are appearing.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to see that as a game system. So yeah, that's my fascination. The older stuff is really interesting to me. The artwork, the miniatures, and everything like that. The gameplay, the design of the games. It feels to me like, for me, like I entered in 3rd edition, and I think that era was the best time to be into Games Workshop, into the
Mm-hmm.
hobby for me,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a real games company, real hobby
Mm-hmm.
company. And it's interesting
Yeah.
how it's evolved and changed over time to now where it is now with Warhammer stores, where they're no longer a hobby store, it's just a shop.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just can walk in and
Come
buy this.
in, buy your stuff, and goodbye.
Yeah, that's it. It's completely different. So it's really interesting to see how it's come around full circle kind of thing. But yeah, mate. Now Warhammer Renaissance, that's the game we play here
Mm-hmm.
in Japan, majority of the time. Have you ever tried it?
Not yet, but I have read the rules. I know there has been some updates lately, I think, but I've read through the rules years ago already. So maybe that's not very lately what I heard, but yeah, it's based on 5th edition. I know,
It's fourth
right?
edition.
Fourth
Fourth edition.
edition. Fourth edition. Ah, right. Yeah, I think it's some guys from Sweden, if I'm not wrong. Am I
Denmark.
right?
Don't say Sweden.
Ah, sorry,
Stop.
guys.
I made that mistake twice. If you want to hear a great conversation with the guys from the Old World Lives podcast, check
Mhm.
out the last week's live stream. It was an absolute ball with those two guys, Jimmy and Christoph, and
Mhm.
yeah, and they're taking the piss at basically there's obviously a historical rivalry between Sweden and Denmark, so they made a lot of great, very funny comments, and I'm sure Ted would have enjoyed that too. Ted, are you from Denmark? I think Ted
Oh,
is from
this.
Denmark, but they did it in
Sorry.
good fun. It was nothing nasty. It was just fun, and I think both sides would laugh out of that. But yeah, the guy Boulder from Denmark wrote the rules based on his favorite edition of Warhammer, which is 4th edition.
Mhm.
So basically, at its core, yeah, it's 4th edition system, but with obviously, okay, sorry, Ted, you're in Sweden. Oh my goodness, I made that mistake again. I keep getting the Danes and the Swedes all mixed up. Sorry about that, mate. So the magic system is 4th edition,
Mhm.
and the core rules are based on 4th, but obviously they've tweaked it and changed it a little bit in areas, but essentially
Okay.
it's 4th edition.
And what
So
did they change? What's what's special about it? Can you point out some things?
okay, so mainly clarification, I think. So the
Okay.
ambiguity of certain rules, they try to
Mhm.
make very clear, written very clearly, because it's a living rule book. Maybe like
Mhm.
the one CE,
Yep.
it gets feedback. They change things. They change the wording of things
Mhm.
to make it more clear, and things like the spells and all that kind of stuff. They've
Mhm.
it's been really hard at work trying to make all the spell descriptions and all that kind of stuff very, very clear to read. And so
Yeah.
it's just eliminating any kind of ambiguities or just to clarify things more and to polish it to make it like the best
Yeah.
edition. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's really good. And like CE, it's got the army books include a lot of units
Mhm.
where it's sort of encompassing everything from all the
Mhm.
editions, 3rd all the way up to 8th kind of thing.
Nice.
Like all your units and that kind of stuff. Base sizing, I think now is kind of like you can base it however you want to. Before they stipulated very clearly what kind of base size it was, which I liked.
Mhm.
Now it's kind of a
Mhm.
bit more loose if you want to go up to like the old world kind of basing.
Mhm.
So that's kind of changed in this edition for 2024.
Yeah. Okay.
But overall, it's a really good system. I really like it, and it's kind of like, hey, let's play Renaissance, and they say okay, but they've never played 4th edition, but they're really playing 4th edition fantasy, which is nice because it's my favorite. So it's really good. What does Ted say here? South Sweden, so we hate Stockholm fault more than right. There you go. Okay, there you go. I'm still learning things here. Okay, all right. So yeah, hopefully you get to try it out, Andreas, at some point
Mhm.
and see
Sounds
what you.
interesting. I mean, I have my Orcs and Goblin 4th edition rulebook right there, so.
Right. Even in the early editions, like even if you wanted to, you could use all like they give you the rule book, the army book for the Orc and Goblins, and they have they changed the Ed Banger's chart rule and that kind of thing, velocity. But they say if you want, and a lot of the other things as well. But if you want to use straight out of the book, you can use it straight out of the book, which is lovely. I love that because I love all the charts. I love reading it and going through all the special rules and stuff like that. So you can do that way, or you can do it their way, which is a much more cleaner, quicker system for tournament play. If you're doing it sort of within a tight time frame.
That's basically exactly what's CE for a later edition. Basically, yeah. That sounds quite familiar because it also has some optional rules. There's for example, guessing for war machines. They have another systematic of using artillery, but you have as optional rules you can just use in the back of the book. You find the rules if you want to guess ranges for all the weapons. So you can decide if you want to use this or that, or
I think
kind of optional rules that you can agree on if you want to use them or not. So that's really good.
Are you a fan of guess ranges?
I am.
Me too. I really
templates and guess ranges all the way.
When I played 8th edition for a couple of games when it first came out, that's one thing I absolutely hated about 8th edition. Absolutely hated it. I'll never forget that day. The guy who had played in the store, he had a massive Skaven army, and he would release some kind of artillery onto my units of goblins. But he would have an A4 sheet of paper with all grids on it. He'd have one with all 20 mil bases, one with 25 mil bases, and he would just plonk it on my unit and say, okay, well, I can hit X amount of guys, and that was it. It was so strange. I love the whole thing about guessing the range and scattering, all that kind of stuff. But
it's fun and whack, and that's what I also loved about that second edition game, when we had all these little templates with shooting the smoke smoke grenades and stuff like that, and how they wander around, and you have to roll each turn. What happens? Oh, you rolled a 2. Okay, then you have to roll again. Oh, there it goes 2 inches to the left, and so on and so on. Awesome. I mean, it takes an incredible amount of the time away, but it's so much fun.
I found also too, when I discovered smoke grenades or blind grenades in second edition, just hilarious, because you got to roll, like you say, and every at the start of each turn you got to roll to see, do they dissipate, do they move, or do they stay where they are, and they get bigger, and the bigger and smaller one, that was an interesting one. It either gets bigger or it gets smaller.
We had that, exactly, now it's down to a 1-inch template. So, okay.
Very funny. So it's interesting to see, how, because I did second edition tournaments when it was out in the 90s, but and I remember playing a guy with lots of smoke. He was throwing smoke as a Marine Blood Angel player. But how we did it in that time frame, I don't know, but we did it. So you could play those games within a short time frame. I think we played three games in a day. So you can do it, even all those sort of, the minutiae of all those rules, all the templates and stuff like that. It's still possible.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but what was the standard game size for second edition back then?
I think
maybe 1,500 or?
Yeah, I think 1,500 points. I think if you go more than that, you just get bogged down too much. Especially Orc and Goblins with if you've got a very high model
count. Imagine there are my 500 Gretsch.
And it was never meant to be played at those sizes, I don't think, realistically. Okay, what's Ted saying here in the chat here? Yes, the dreaded SAD, Skaven Shooty
Army of Death. SAD, Shooty Army of Death.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, it was already infamous in 6th edition.
Right.
Skaven had always like being notoriously known for being an awful shooting army if you played it in a dirty way.
Is that because
Like
of
Skaven,
the war machine they had? What's
Jezzails and
Jezzails.
warp lightning gun and the rattling guns they introduced in 6th edition, I think, which was I think in up to 5th edition they had like the warp flamethrower as an upgrade to units, if I'm
Yep.
not totally wrong. And they added the rattling gun in 6th edition, I think.
Yeah.
Which was terrible.
Yeah, those are just nuts. Like, I've never seen one before because I never played 6 upwards, but in Warhammer Renaissance they have those things in it, the rattling gun. It's just nuts. Like, is it 2d6 the amount of shots you get off? Or is it
2d6 shots, and
Yeah,
you can, I think, choose to roll 3d6 even. But if you have like a double, then I think it goes into a random direction or something
Right.
like that.
Okay, sounds very Skaven. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chris says, now that I know, they'll have to add some crazy weapons to make Orc Army for some future remote 40k games. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
You're really good, Chris. Nice.
Snot Saga, or what is it called? Snot Launcher, or where you can like teleport the Snotling inside inside.
Yeah. That's a shock attack gun.
Okay.
Shock attack gun. Yeah, you can basically teleport your Snotlings inside tanks or dreadnoughts and things like that.
Do you know what a dreadnought in Germany is called?
What is it called, mate?
A Cybot.
A Cybot?
Yeah, it's a Cybot.
All right, okay. A bit like Star. Was it called Stargrave? Or what it's called? What's it called?
In StarQuest it was called a dreadnought, but after that it was called a Cybot.
Oh, okay.
No idea why. No idea.
Well, look, my friend, I'm going to have to call this stream early because I need to wake up my son. Now it's 7 o'clock, and get him ready for school and get him off to school, get him fed breakfast and all that kind of thing. But mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Andreas, like this.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you enjoy.
I can just return the compliment. That's awesome.
Well, we have to do it again because I really enjoy talking to you on our Discord, and it's always fun to hang out with you in the morning, like this time when you're painting and doing stuff, and I just wake up and get a coffee and sit down to chat with you guys there. So yeah, if you want to talk to Andreas in person, go and check out our Discord in the paint and chat.
Yeah, and I'll head off right to the paint and chat. Yeah, Moscha. Look for Moscha.
Moscha is your online. So thanks to Chris, Ted, Matt. We had Kim Nix on here as well, Ernest, and Marcus, and Danny from Nostalgia Honey Hobbies for coming on today, and Nick from Medieval Wargamer as well, Gregory. So thank you very much, everybody who's commented and said hello. I really appreciate that. And again, Andreas, you go to bed, mate, because you got to work tomorrow. So,
yeah, unfortunately.
Poor bugger. You take care, and I'll see you again next time.
Okay, bye. Bye. Thanks. See you.
Okay, thanks, mate.